because we're going to make our way down. So first and foremost, I want you to wiggle your toes, rock side to side, feel the corners, the edges, the front and the back of your feet. Just feel the ground beneath you. And notice the stability of that ground. Because when there's chaos all around, coming back to what we are for sure about and know that we are standing on solid ground. So take a deep inhale in here. And I encourage you to release your breath and release the morning, at least just for a few moments. Go ahead and inhale those arms up overhead. Stretch, maybe even stretch one arm higher than the other. Slight side bends here. Come back to stillness. Broaden the shoulders. Widen the back. Open up your front. Notice your breath. Allow that deepness to continue no matter what the pose is today. Now I encourage you to release the hands all the way down, let them hang. Your feet can be hip width apart or they can be together. Bend your knees as much as you need to. Your hands can rest just above your knees, let your head hang. Your hands can cross to opposite elbows, framing your head into ragdoll. And now in this pose, feel all the edges of your feet once again. Rock forward and back slightly. Feeling the grounding as you are flipped upside down. Take a breath in here. Releasing that breath. Release the hands down so they hang, shake them out. Tuck your chin in, bend your knees if they're not bent. Slowly roll back up to standing. The head is the very last thing to arise. Draw the arms up overhead, draw the palms together, bring them to heart center, set an intent for your practice. Something to focus on to bring you back. On your next inhalation, inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Hands can come down to the floor if that works. Otherwise, they can always come to your shins, above your knees, whatever works for you. Draw up into your first halfway lift. Just elongate the spine. Let the neck be long. Let the crown of your head point forward as your tailbone goes in the opposite direction. Then release back down to that forward fold. This time, press into the earth as you rise up overhead into Mountain Tadasana and bring those hands to heart center. Come back to your intention, come back to your breath. Inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Release down to your forward fold. Maybe step back into a high plank if you wish to today. Take a moment here. Just concentrate whatever position you are in on your core and lower all the way down to the floor. Untuck the toes, knit the elbows into the side, rise up into a baby cobra. Feel the fingertips on the earth. Feel your body against the earth and feel the solidness of the foundation that you are lying on. Release it all the way back down. Tucking your toes, coming up onto your hands and knees. Rock back and forth, and then rise up into a downward facing dog. Inhale in here. And exhale. Release. Turn your gaze to your hands. Walk your feet up to your hands, slowly finding that forward fold. This time your toes, big toes touch, heels may be splayed out. Tuck your chin in, roll all the way up to standing. Once again, arms float to the sky and bring them back to heart center. Feel that ground underneath you as you sink down into chair. Your hands can stay at heart center. They can come straight out in front of you, or they can come up overhead. Sink a little deeper into that chair. Let the inner thighs come together. Turn the pinkies towards each other if your hands are raised up. From here, go ahead and release the feet or release the knees, standing straight. Let your hands come back behind you. Almost like a Titanic pose for just a minute. Draw the shoulder blades together. And then release everything together. From here, find the grounding on your right foot. Step that left foot back, finding high crescent lunge. Arms can rise up overhead. Take a moment here. Lengthen that back leg. Inhale and exhale your breath, straightening that back leg, igniting the kneecap. Then drawing your hands to heart center. Release the left elbow towards the right thigh, finding a twist. You can stay here, you can release your hands and fly them. It's totally up to you. But I encourage you to keep your hips stable, parallel to the mat, and your left leg long. On your next exhalation, go ahead and rotate back to your high crescent lunge. And then flip that back heel back, find warrior two. Slowly gaze over the front fingertips, lengthening the fingers in each direction. Breathing in here and breathing out. Reverse the warrior, right arm up, left arm down. Turn your gaze over that left shoulder. Opening up the side body and then releasing into that side angle. The right elbow can rest on that left thigh as the left arm comes straight up overhead, or maybe even it reaches up and over. Finding length through that left hip, grounding through the outer edge of that left foot. Coming back to your intention, coming back to your breath. From here, release the hands down to the mat into a low lunge. Step up so your feet are hip width apart. Take your two peace fingers and your thumb, wrap them around your big toes, finding a big toe forward fold. As you inhale, your elbows come out to the side, drawing the chest towards the thighs. As you exhale, you release the backs of the legs. Breathing in here. And breathing out. Go ahead and release your big toes. Toe heel your feet together. And from here, slowly roll up to standing once again. Hands float to the sky, bringing them to heart center. Find that grounding on that left foot now, stepping the right foot back, finding high crescent lunge on this side. Again, your hands can stay right here or they can raise up overhead. It's totally up to you. Take a moment in the high crescent lunge to find length through your legs. Then drawing those hands back, go ahead and rotate for that twist. Knowing you can always go down on your knee if that feels better, or even keep your twist up. Notice what your body is calling to do today. Unwind, coming back to center, rotate out, finding warrior two on this side now. Again, finding the outer edge of that right foot, anchoring it, finding length, stretching the fingers forward and back, gazing forward. Notice if your shoulders have risen up, release the tension from the shoulders. Releasing into a reverse warrior. And then finding your side angle on this side, noticing there might be a difference here. My shoulder is a little jacked up today, so my hand is going to stay down on my hip. Again, finding length and openness in that right side, no matter where your arm is. Take another breath here. Go ahead and unwind, finding that low lunge. Step both feet up together, however, they are hip width apart. And this time, take your hands, place the backs of your hands on the mat or just facing towards the mat, sliding the hands, the palms underneath the feet into a gorilla pose. As you inhale, those elbows come out to the side again, and your chest comes towards your thighs. As you exhale, you release the tension of the backs of the legs. This pose is to release your tension from your hands. We clench our hands so many times throughout the day without even knowing it. Release that pressure from the wrists, from the hands, which will then equate to moving up through your arms and all the way to your shoulders and even to your brow. Take another breath here. And release. Go ahead and unslide the hands now, wiggling those toes, straighten those legs as a halfway lift here. And then toe heel your feet out to the outer edges of the mat, toes off the mat, sink down into a yogi squat. Maybe it's up higher, maybe it's lower, maybe use a chair. Find an openness here. If you wish to, you could even put your hands down and try a crow pose, rocking forward. Maybe just crow prep, or you can stay right here in this yogi squat. As we release the tension throughout the different areas of our body today, if we've been sitting today or even walking and standing a lot, opening up the hips, allowing release of pressure from the hips will help relieve tension through the lower back. Whatever version you are in, bring your hands to the mat. Go ahead and step the left foot back. Your right foot is still up and over and out of on the mat. Lower the left leg, finding lizard pose. Go ahead and rock side to side here. You can go down on your forearms or stay up. Maybe even a gentle swaying from front to back. Not all the way straightening that right leg, but just allow a little bit of movement. Come back to stillness here. Toe heel the foot back towards the center of the mat. Sink back to your hips, straightening the right leg as much as able to, pointing the toes towards the ceiling and gazing forward. Knowing that you can use blocks here if you have blocks, using whatever, a chair around you. Sinking back if you wish to, or staying so your hips are raised over that back leg. Go ahead and rock forward. Bring your hands to either side. Lift the back leg up. And now this time, bring your left foot up out to the outer edge of the mat. Step the right back. We're finding lizard on the other side. Drop the knee down. And again, you can stay here, you can rock, you can be still, you can come down onto your forearms. Your gaze is forward. Your movements are small and ones that feel good and are natural to you. If you've gone down to your forearms, go ahead, come back up. Toe heel your foot back in. Shift the hips back, straighten the legs, toes towards the ceiling, finding this version of half splits. Again, notice what feels best to your body. Take another breath here. On your next exhalation, go ahead and bring your hands forward, bring your knees back, finding tabletop. Take one moment here doing a cat and cow sequence. Belly to the earth as you look forward. Pressing up, arching your back. Come back to a stillness, tuck your toes under, walk your hands out in front, let your heart melt towards the earth, forehead towards the earth, finding a puppy pose. Hips are raised to the sky. Drawing up, sliding through, coming to a cobra here, knowing you can lower down as low as is needed. Pointing the toes, pressing the tops of the legs into the ground. Lowering the forehead. Pressing all the way back, drawing the knees together if that feels comfortable, and finding a child's pose. Forehead can be against the earth, or you can stack your hands, or you can even wrap your hands behind you. Cross your arms, whatever feels most comfortable to you. But I encourage you in this child's pose to think back on your intent. Bring your awareness back to your breath. Noticing that your heart rate is slowing. Your thoughts are becoming more clear. Slowly rise up, swinging your legs around, coming to staff pose. Your legs are straight out in front of you. Let your hands come to either side for a moment. Draw the shoulders over your hips. Find length through your spine and the crown of your head, pointing towards the ceiling as you feel grounded on the earth. From here, reach your arms straight out in front of you. And then slowly lowering down to your back. Draw your knees up into a tight hug, rock side to side. Drop the left foot to the floor, crossing the right ankle over that left knee. You can stay here, or you can even wrap your hands around that left leg, drawing it closer. Take a moment just to feel the openness of the outer right hip. If you've drawn the leg up and drawn it closer to your chest, go ahead. I encourage you to lower that left foot back down to the earth. Let the hands come out to either side and slowly let your legs drop down to the left side. Shift as you need to, keeping the right shoulder blade against the earth. Slowly draw back up. Just replace the right leg down, bring the left leg up, finding this supine pigeon pose. Again, you can draw your knee up closer to you or leave it right where it is. Depending on how tight you feel, will dictate what your movement is. Release the hands out to either side. Lower the foot down if it's risen, and go ahead and find that twist on the opposite side. Go ahead and draw everything back up again. I encourage you to bring both knees into your chest. Wrap your hands around your knees. Bring your forehead up to your knees. And then release down into a Shavasana. Let your hands be to either side. Let your feet splay out. Let your hands and palms be open. Take a moment of stillness and quiet in the solitude. I have several statements here. If one resonates, let your mind think on that. Be mindful of intention. Intention is the seed that creates our future. Affirmations can rewire our brains. They can lead to reconstructing our thought patterns. Saying to yourself, I am healthy. I am strong. I am calm. I am at peace. I have hope. I have joy. And now I encourage you to straighten your arms up overhead, reaching as long as you possibly can. Having your fingertips stretched to one side of the mat as your feet stretch the opposite way. And then in your own way and own time, come up into a seated position. As you draw to that seated position, let your hands rest wherever feels most appropriate to you. Knowing that daily yoga, daily motivation is the way that we recharge our spirits. So I commend you for taking a moment to recharge today. And until next time, namaste. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Michelle.